Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a great weekend. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The 5-minute money maker last week was know what your return on investment is when it comes to your marketing. So when somebody's talking about their marketing, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, well, how much did you spend and how much did you make? So does it really matter? I always used to tell Missy, I said, the best seminar for me is one person showing up. They have $1 million and they move it to me. So why would I love that kind of seminar, guys? Why would I love that kind of seminar? Is that efficient or not efficient? That's way efficient. That's way efficient. So what you want to do is make sure you know how much you're spending and how much you're going to get or making from that. Now, anything, and guys, if you went to well, first of all, a grocery store. What's a grocery store's? Do you know what a grocery store's profit margin is, guys? What's a grocery store's profit margin? Yeah, very thin. It's like 3%, 1%. It depends on the grocery store. So, but they can do because of volume. And how much inventory do we need to pay for? Do we have warehouses for our business? Do we have all ungodly amounts? No, we have about the thinnest business we can possibly have. So, if you got how many businesses out there would love a 2-to-1 return on investment every month? Not for the year, but for the month. They invest $1 in whatever they do, and at the end of the month, they get $2 back. Yeah, all of them would. They would be falling over to. So it's amazing when I talk to somebody and they're bitching because their return on investment is 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. Guess how many businesses would love a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 return on investment? Now I'm shooting for a 10 or a 20% return on investment, but will I ever complain about a 3-to-1 return on investment? Never. In fact, I will just do that over and over and over again. But the only business person I hear, the only business person I hear complain about a 3-to-1 return on investment is, guess what kind of business person? Yeah, exactly, Kevin. Us advisors. Yeah, Dave, Charles, us. So, guys, do the math, and the math will explain whether your marketing is working or not. Now, obviously, if I'm getting a 2-to-1 return on investment, I'm going to keep doing that, but then I'm going to search for what? Something with a higher return on investment. And I'm going to be, once I get that, then I'm going to be searching for, 3-to-1, Dave, and then a 4-to-1, and then a 5-to-1. I'm going to be constantly searching, but I'm never going to complain about a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 return on investment. So here we go. And then the breakdown, in this short snippet, we learn how we can turn a negative into a positive. That's the power of God. So make sure, if you haven't listened to this one, go back. This is a very powerful tool. So make sure you go back and listen to that. So first of all, I want to thank Mike. He sent me a couple of great articles here about 3-4 weeks ago. First one is Big Trouble Brewing in Bonds. Anyone who pays attention to bond markets will know that there's been extraordinary run-up in BBB bonds since the financial crisis, from $700 billion worth of bonds in 2008 to a whopping $3 trillion now. Using the metaphors of bonds, that such bonds, which are just one rung above junk, are like the dead trees and limbs in a forest fire. What I call it is the stacks of newspaper in a room with a gasoline can. How much is it going to take for that thing to go up? That's right, Kevin, it's kindling. How long is it going to take before this thing goes up? So what they're saying is this would spark, the trigger is likely to be the next recession, which would be cause many of the BBB bonds that fall into the junk category. This would spark a mandatory selling of many funds. And do you get that? Because a lot of funds that have no junk in them are loaded with BBBs. But as soon as the recession hits and some of these BBBs turn into junk, they're going to be forced to sell whether they want to or not, because that's in their prospectus. And what's going to happen to those junk bonds? And will that just stop with junk bonds? When junk bonds take a hit, does that just stop at junk bonds, guys? No, it cascades, right, Tom? It cascades. So there are plenty, besides the fact that interest rates are going up, besides the fact that QE is gone, besides we've got lots of other bonds. So if you've got any of your clients in bonds for their guaranteed money, you are what, guys? If you have any of your clients' money in bonds for the guaranteed portion, you are negligent. I agree that and foolish, Charles, exactly. This is how many fund managers actually, it's from MarketWatch. This is how many fund managers actually beat index funds. This is just from a few months ago. According to the just released research from Standard & Poor's, the statistics, boy, I'm having trouble talking today. We've all been used to assess the likelihood of beating the market are biased in favor of success. Correcting that bias is therefore crucial if we're going to base our investment strategies on an accurate assessment of the facts. So what is this saying, guys? Guys, this first paragraph is saying that we love to look at information that's going to validate us being an actively managed funds. But the picture that emerged once the S&P 500 did that was sobering, to say the least. Over the last 15 years, 92.2% of large cap funds lagged a simple S&P 500 index fund. The percentages of mid cap and small cap were even worse at 95 and 93% respectively. In other words, the odds you'll do better in an index fund are close to 1 out of 20. Now, let me ask you about the 1 out of 20. The 1 out of 20, did they do that because of skill, guys? Dave's got it. Everybody's saying no. Dave, Tom, no. Everybody's saying no. Nick's saying no. So why did they do that? They were at the right place at the right time. Right place, right time. So again, I'm not saying don't be in actively managed funds, but what I am doing is saying, should you make any promises when you're in actively managed funds? Or should you say, what are the 3 promises we make in our equity funds, with our equity managers? Number 1, when the market goes up, you're going to go up. When the market goes down, you're going to go down. And historically, the market has gone up more than down. That's the only 3 things that I can promise. Should I do anything? Should I say anything like this? My money manager's got these algorithms and he's really figured out we did reverse back testing, blah, blah, blah. Anything like that is a big fat what, guys? Anything like that is a big fat what? Lie, lie, lie. If it's not a lie, then you should if you don't have your house mortgaged, if you don't believe that's a lie, and you don't have your house mortgaged and in that fund, then you are lying to who? Yourself, exactly, Tom. Yourself. So I'm not against actively managed funds. What I'm against is people telling lies. And it's not and here's a sad thing. Would most of these advisors who are telling these stories, that are lies, would they pass a lie detector test? Yes, they would, because they actually believe the hooey that they're being sold by the money manager. Guys, if there was truly a money manager that had it figured out, how many people would be using them? And what would their minimum client size be? 1 million? No, it'd be what? That's right, it'd be 1 billion. If a manager had really figured out it, he certainly wouldn't be working with any client that you're working with, okay? So that's my whole point here is just let's not promise things. It shows right here. Only 1 out of 20 funds actually beat the S&P 500. And if you're telling somebody something other than that, you are not being honest with your clients. And this is a validation of the same exact thing. That over 15 years, all large cap funds, 92% lagged, 94% lagged, 95% lagged. So the real topic of today's call is this. This is about 15 years ago when I was going through, I was at a training where people were deciding whether they're going to come on board or not. So people were out in Minnesota to see if they're coming on board or not. And a lot of guys were rolling their eyes at some of the things that you guys have already accepted with motivational interviewing and all that kind of stuff. And I had somebody in the class asked, these people are going to know exactly what you're doing. All you're doing is blah, blah, blah. And a guy raised his hand in the back of the room and I said, yeah, what can I do for you? He says, I am a retired FBI interrogator, and everything you're saying is exactly how we're trained to interrogate witnesses, to interrogate perpetrators, to interrogate crooks. And it works. These are very smart people that we're interrogating, and they don't have a clue what it is that we're doing. So any of you guys think this doesn't work, I'm telling you, it works. It's the FBI playbook for interrogation, not waterboarding. Waterboarding, people will lie just to have you quit waterboarding them. But the funny thing is, when you use motivational interviewing, people don't lie to you. They'll give you everything you want because it's not you saying things, it's them telling you things. So when I ran across this book, that was FBI interrogators, but I ran across this book. This is actually not an interrogator; it's a negotiator. Same or different, guys? Is that a same job or different job? Interrogator versus negotiator. Same or different job? Different job. But guess what we found out? What do you think we found out about the way you negotiate versus the way you interrogate to get success? Same process, Nick. Same process. The same exact thing works for them. So first of all, argue as a negotiator. Arguing with somebody, guess how much that works? Does that work? You think when you're negotiating with somebody? And well, yeah. Mark brings up Waco. Think arguing with somebody in a Waco situation is going to help? No. How about explaining to them the fact that they're not being reasonable and that they're in a really bad pickle, and you explain. How's that going to work? Yeah, that's not going to work either. How about threatening them, saying, you know what, you're outgunned. We've got way more firepower. There's no way out of this alive. You better. That's right, Leon. No, that's not going to work either. That's right, Sue. No, it's not going to work. So what does work then? What does work? You know what works? Gotzing people. Gotzing. Now we call it gotzing, but the FBI has a negotiating school has a lot of different things to call it. But basically, it's all it is gotzing, getting on their side. They found that creating trust is the foundation. I've just harvested these slides from other presentations I've done, but so they don't quite match. But they found that trust is the foundation of negotiation, not just love, but negotiation, and that you have to make yourself vulnerable. So, showing up with lots of tanks, showing up with lots of firepower, is that making yourself vulnerable? No. So what do negotiators tell all of the guns and the tanks and all that stuff? They should be right up in their face or back off. What do they say? To back off, exactly, to back off. So it's now, trust means make yourself vulnerable. It's how we truly connect with another. And then this is a joke of the cat pushing the person over when they actually trust them, turning their back on them. But that's a joke, because guess what they found out? The trust actually works, or the guy's gonna trick you. The guy's gonna take advantage of you. It actually works, Sue. Exactly. It actually works, Tom. And actually, Nick says, and cats actually do that stuff. No, I will agree with that as well. So first thing is, they say don't try to win. Instead, make it a win-win. So what do we do at 5Q? What do we do at 5Q? See, I found that the way you get what you want is to let the other person get what they want. So all I'm going to do is align what I want with what they want, and guess what? It becomes super easy. But when I was making $50 grand a year, guess what I was trying to do? When I listened to those tapes, guess what I was trying to do? I was trying to win an argument. I was trying to win a debate. And you know what? On every single tape, did I win every argument and every debate? Hell yeah, I did. I won every single debate, every single argument. I won every single battle. But then I lost the what? I lost the war. They didn't move to me. I lost the sale. So when I quit trying to win, but instead let the client win. And let's see this. Answer this question. How do we let the client win? Ape, very good deal. How do we let the client win? They tell us what they want, Michael. Exactly. They tell us what they want. So that's exactly right, Dave. So that's how we let them win. They tell us what they want instead of me telling them what they should do. In the end, it's the same result. So I end up winning. I get the sale, but they don't. I get the sale not by telling them what to do. I get the sale by them telling me what they want to do. Does that make sense? So do we do the first rule of the FBI negotiation with the motivational interviewing, the 5Q process? Heck yeah, we do. Number 2, keep your emotions in check. So, guys, that know me or been on the system long enough, am I an emotional being? Where do I wear my emotions? Hidden deep down inside, tucked under, or right on my sleeve? So I am I laugh quickly and I get angry quickly, and I had to bury that. I had to keep my emotions in check. That's why if you ever watch a video of me with somebody, I have a little touchstone word that and how many of you remember this? If somebody says something I don't like, what's the first word out of my mouth? What's the first word out of my mouth? Ah, Mike's got it. Absolutely. It's absolutely. When somebody says something I don't like, first thing I say is absolutely. And the reason I say that is because I'm moving myself the right direction. I'm agreeing with them automatically, and it's preventing me from putting my foot in my mouth. And when I say absolutely, that gives me 2 or 3 seconds where I can calm myself down and do what I want to do instead of what my hair trigger wants to do. Okay? So their point in the book is self-control is essential when trying to influence someone's decision-making process. If you get angry or display frustration, if your body language says you're pissed off, you've lost already. But if you behave in positive ways, it has a tendency to be mimicked. It's hard to have an argument with somebody who isn't arguing. So guess what? I love to argue with clients. When I was making $50,000 a year, I love to argue with clients. So guess how I prevented myself from arguing? Guess how I prevented myself from arguing? I never said anything. I never said anything. All I do is ask what? Questions. When I'm asking questions, can somebody argue with me? No. They can't. So you got to keep your emotions in check, okay? So, and the other thing I was going to mention was motivational interviewing. They found that if you had done with psychologists, when they're trying to get somebody to break the cycle of alcoholism, drug addiction, gambling addiction, they found that if they did a fantastic job of motivational interviewing for 49 meetings in a row, they didn't tell their client to do anything. They let the client make their own decisions. 49 meetings in a row, and then at the 50th meeting, they told the person what to do. What happened to those other 49 meetings? Poof, gone, nulled, exactly, all gone. So you gotta keep your emotions in check. This is something and this is why I did the 15-minute drill every single morning, because it reminded me with a laser-like focus. Keep everything positive. You keep things positive, and just like the second thing here, it says you keep things positive, and guess what's going to happen with because Gotzing is all about being positive, right? Isn't Gotzing all about being positive, all about letting the client do the talking? So that's why I do my 15-minute drill. Not because I don't have all the skills, because I need to remind myself to use those skills. Having them and using them and not using them is silly. So that's the second thing. Do we at 5Q utilize this? Absolutely we do. Number 3, keep their emotions in check. Slow down. Slow down. So what I do, I tell you, if a meeting's starting to go off the rails and a client's starting to get angry, what do? First thing we do is what? Slow down. And what happens to our volume also? What do we do with the volume of our voice? Lower it. Yes. So we slow it down and we talk quieter, because we need to keep them calm too. Because how hard is it to argue with somebody who's talking like this? No, well, I'm sorry, but I don't know why that happened. How hard is it to argue with somebody like that, is talking slow and low? How hard is it? Somebody answer me. Nobody's answering. Easy or hard? It's going to be hard. It's going to feel silly. You feel silly yelling at somebody who's being calm and talking slow and talking low. That's how it keeps their emotions checked. Also, if things are getting difficult, somebody answered earlier, if things are difficult, I slow down and I lower my voice. So I go slow and low, and I also do what? It's like Mike says, yelling at somebody who's talking slow and low is like yelling at a tree. That's exactly right. What's the point? So they'll stop it. But the other thing is, I'm talking slower and lower, but I also, that's right, I apologize, Kevin. I apologize. So if things are getting badly, I slow it down. I talk quiet. I say, I'm sorry. Whatever I've said, whatever I've implied, whatever I've done, I hope you understand it wasn't done in the spirit of getting you upset. I mean, people come to me to lower their stress, to take that deep. I want them to be taking a sigh of relief, but I can see I'm causing more stress. You're actually cycling up in stress, and whatever I've done, whatever I've said, I apologize. I hope you understand it wasn't meant to be done in a manner to upset you. And then I shut up. So was I talking fast or slow? Was I talking loud or quiet? And I apologize. And what does that do to their emotions when I do that? What does it do to their emotions when I do that? It calms them. That's right. Dials them back. So do we use this with 5Q? Absolutely we do. Be a good listener. Duh. Be a good listener. Look them in the eye, keep a smile on your face, and be able to walk in their shoes. Do we do this with 5Q? The whole thing about 5Q is about this. Think about the 15-minute drill. What's the 15-minute drill about? It's about ways to get them to talk more. All those skills in the 15-minute drill are all things to get them to talk more. Aping gets them to talk more. Apologizing for correcting them gets them to talk more. Laughing at the jokes gets them to talk more. Asking open-ended questions gets them to talk more. So all of the things you do in the 15-minute drill are all about getting them to talk more so that you can be a good listener. Next thing, start small. Do we start small? Somebody give me an example of where we start small. 21 Light, I agree with that. Absolutely. I agree with that. Nick's got it. The Survivor's Guide. Will anybody ever leave their current advisor because their advisor did not give them a Survivor's Guide? No. So the Survivor's Guide is not about getting them to leave their advisor. But if I used to go in right for the jugular. I used to go right in. The first thing I would show them is this guy stealing from you. Let me show you the fees and the things he didn't show you. I'd actually use our fee presentation the exact way it's laid out, but it did not work when I used it right from the get-go. My thought was, heck, go with the biggest damning proof right away. And I found that if you go with the biggest damning proof right away, guess what happens? They will resent you, and they will defend their guy. See, when they woke up in the morning, did they love their guy, their current advisor? Whether it's TD Ameritrade or a real guy, do they love their guy when they woke up in the morning? Yes, Sue says yes. You're right, Sue. They absolutely do. Because if they didn't love their guy, what would they have done a long time ago before they even received that piece of marketing that you sent them? They would have left their guy. So we can't go in with both guns blazing. We just have to point out some small innocuous thing that they can agree on and say, well, yeah, you know what, this is pretty good. This would have been something he could have handed out to us or told us about. That's not a huge deal, but I guess he could have handed this out. It could have been a nice thing to do. He should be doing nice things like this. When they say that, do they have any intention of leaving their guy when they're thinking that? No. But do they start to think, hey, my guy walks on water, or my guy does have some room for improvement? He could be better. Yeah, some room. That's right. So that's what we're doing. We use this exact same thing. Start small and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then give to receive. How do we do this, guys? This is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing that we do, the biggest powerful thing that we do with 5Q. How do we do this? Do we get paid for any of the non-financial things, guys? What is the non-financial things that we do for folks? What in dollar amount? What could that add up to in savings for them in the end? Tens of thousands, Mike. Exactly, tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, we say $3,200. $3,200 is teeny. I don't actually talk about the real numbers they could save because they wouldn't believe it. But we can save them thousands of dollars. So are we giving to them before we're even asking for anything from them? And in fact, do we ever ask anything from them? Do we ever ask them to move their money to us? No. They give us their money. They want, and that's a heck of a lot different. You don't say things like, "Is there any reason why we should move forward today?" Did we ever say anything stupid like that? No. No, 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 no. We have them tell us that they want us to take care of their money. Make sense? Cool. So as far as FBI negotiators, are we using all the skills that they teach their FBI negotiators? And if it works for a guy that's barricaded behind a wall with a bunch of hostages, do you think it might work for clients? Everybody answer that. I got one yes. Everybody answer that. Everybody's saying yes. Okay, good. So different topic, but same topic, the power of words. Harvard communication specialist Raphael Lapin said, in today's fierce competition, you won't differentiate yourself with technical knowledge. That it's done through relationships you build. So why did I take the CFP letters off the back of my business card when I started making all that money? Because I wanted to differentiate them how smart I was, or I wanted to build a relationship. Well, Dave says it didn't matter. I thought it did matter. If it didn't matter, I wouldn't have thrown away my 100 business cards with CFP. Instead, I threw them away and got plain old Mike Castleneck on there. Why did I do that? How do baby boomers think about people who want to put themselves above them? What do the baby boomers think about people trying to put themselves above them? Yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it. See, it's not trying to impress. You know, if I'm looking for a mechanic and there's a mechanic on the left-hand side of the road and the right-hand side of the road, am I really worried about which mechanic is better? Is that what I'm worried about? No. If they're a mechanic, what can they do? They can fix my car, or they wouldn't be a mechanic. What I'm looking for is somebody who somebody said, Tilt said it, trust. Somebody I can trust, somebody who's not going to screw me. So when they're looking for a money manager, looking for an advisor, are they really looking for an advisor that's smarter? Are they really looking for an advisor? If you were really that smart, would you be working with somebody with $1 million, or would you be working with somebody with $100 million? So they know you're not any smarter than the current, their current advisor. They're just looking for somebody that they can absolutely trust with their money. That's what they're looking for. So I love Maslansky, and he actually has a business called Maslansky Partners. So I subscribe to them and their newsletters, and they constantly are doing more and more research on the fact, basically talking to baby boomers, speaking the language of trust in a skeptical world. And so I love listening with them. So the first thing that they came across with, and we already know this, is don't talk, just listen, listen, listen. If you're listening, guess what? If you're listening, can they be arguing with you? No, they can't. The other person I love is Dr. Frank Luntz. He was actually the person who helped the Republicans back in the late 90s have a huge wave of success because he changed words like getting rid of the estate tax to getting rid of the death tax. Estate taxes didn't poll very well. Death taxes polled extremely well. So he came up with all sorts of the Contract of America. He came up with that. This guy is a wordsmithing genius. He actually doesn't work strictly for the Republicans anymore. He actually has a firm where he works with anybody and everybody, including companies, Democrats, Republicans, everybody, because he makes a lot more money that way. But he is a certified genius when it comes to wordsmithing. So one of the things he does regularly is he has and he did a lot of work with advisors because there's a lot of money in that industry. So he actually did several different advisors do seminars, and he handed the audience members these little. Have you ever seen during like CNN or we'll do this occasionally where they'll give people those meters where they say, like during debates. You ever seen during the political debates where they give them the dials and they'll say, I don't like what he's saying, I do like the polling meters. That's right, Dave. So I do like what he's saying, I don't like what he's saying, I do like what he's saying, don't like it. So he's done this. Does anybody not get what I'm talking about? I know that's not a very good description. Okay, nobody's saying it, so everybody gets it. Good. So he did several of these, handing the audiences these meters. Okay. So what he found is that most audiences looked at the advisors as being confident or arrogant. What do you think? Yeah, arrogant. And the thing is, do you remember what my appointment ratio was at seminars? It was 24%. And Missy can validate this, on so many evaluation forms, there was all like great presentation, a lot of great information, but I'd always get several people saying what? Fast talking and slick. Fast talking and slick. Now the reason I was fast talking and slick is because I am shy, so I was just nervous and on adrenaline to get the information out there because I was so worried about being in front of the public. So I came across, because I talk so fast, slick and fast talking, and that came across to most people arrogant. Now the thing is, once I was with them one-on-one, guess how good I got? Was I slick and fast talking one-on-one with them? No, I was awesome one-on-one with them, using the motivational interviewing skills, slowing things down, agreeing with them, not arguing with them. But I was so nervous in front of a crowd that I tended to do this. And this is where most advisors are when they're presenting. They're arrogant. So when I've talked to those of you that have done seminars, have I told you that the words you're saying in seminars are the most important thing? So memorizing the script. Hey, memorizing the script with a for the disclosure meeting or for the advisor extra meeting or the 21-point checklist meeting, yeah, that's very important to memorize those scripts because it makes things easier for you. But in a seminar, does it really matter what you're saying? And Nick's got it right. Nick said, yeah, building relationships, one-on-one relationships. So at a seminar, I want to be talking to individuals, not to the group. If you remember back when you came out to training in Minneapolis, how many first names did I use during that training? How often was I using first names during that training? Lots. That's right. Because I want to have connections one-on-one with everybody in the room. That way I know, is somebody not believing me in the room? Are they agreeing with me? Are they not? So I need to know that. But also what I'm doing is I'm developing connections with every individual in that room. That's what you want to do at a seminar, okay? Not come across with all sorts of information. Because if all you do is get information, guess what? They leave a lot smarter, but what do they not do? Make appointments, because you gave them all the information they needed. So the thing is, slow down. Financial advisors need to think about what they're saying and slow it down. So those of you that have tape reviews with Jeff or myself, were there times listening to that tape where you were saying things that you had no clue that you were saying them? Like, holy crap, I can't believe I said that. So Maslansky's saying you got slow it. You are in no hurry. People are not looking for fast talking people. They're fine if you talk slower. And if you talk slower, it gives you time to think. But financial advisors tend to be type A personalities, so they push information, they push numbers, they push solutions. How many of my presentations have illustrations involved? None. But the typical advisor, what does he love to whip out? An illustration, because he's going to prove it to the client that this is a good thing. Rather than pushing numbers, pushing solutions, you want to pull. Or what I'd rather say, rather even than you pulling, I want the client to push. So what he's saying by pull is ask questions and let the client tell you, but it's the same thing. So your approach should be to avoid selling and instead advise so that the client can make their own decisions. Does this sound familiar, guys? Is this what 5Q is all about? Now, I was doing this back in 1997. Maslansky has only been around for about the last 8 years. Motivation interviewing has been around since the 70s. But we found that actually, can't remember. This approach has actually been around by some of the philosophers about 400 years, letting the client or letting the person you're arguing with make the argument for you. High net worth people don't want to be sold to. Not Socrates. Hey, Jeff, can you help me out here? What's the guy's name again? Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal. Yep. Get clients to tell personal stories. This gets them to elaborate on things they might otherwise not want to talk about. Should we ever tell our own personal stories about how these things happen to us? No. But when a client tells us their stories, should we listen to their stories? Yes. Now, why do we never want to tell our stories? Because we go on, and we're so interested in our stories that we go on and on and on and on and on with all sorts of details. And guess what? It may be entertaining, but does the client get the point? No. So you waste a whole bunch of time talking about your story. And I know you're doing it to show them, to develop a relationship with them. It's to develop rapport. No. It does not work that way. Rapport is developed by listening to them, by putting the spotlight on them, by telling them that they're smart, not by showing things that are going on with you. So we don't use stories, our stories, because you get way too much detail, you waste too much time, and you lose the point. You're more interested in the story than you are in the point the story is making. But when a client wants to tell a story, we want to listen to them, and then we're going to use that to leverage the point we want to make. Now, this Harvard-trained communication expert, Raphael Lapin, also wrote a book called Working with Difficult People. But he said to work with difficult people, you got to put yourself in their shoes. And that's what the whole 5Q system is about. You're far more in control of any conversation when you're asking good questions rather than promoting yourself. I'll give you an example. I've talked to some guys about this. When I listen to their seminar, guess what the first 5 minutes are about when I listen to their seminar? Them, that's right. How brilliant they are, how many designations they have, blah, blah, blah. Guess how much people in the audience care about your designations? They don't. And in fact, if it didn't hurt you at all, I'd say go ahead and do it. It makes you feel good, do it. But why does it hurt you with boomers when you're up there spending 5 minutes talking about how great you are? Because they think you're arrogant, just like we talked about here a few minutes ago. And then they're going to look for what? They're going to go gunning for you. They're going to go looking for you to make a stumble. They're going to be attacking you. Even if not loud, they're going to be attacking you in their head. So if you want to brag about your designations, go ahead and do it with a slideshow prior to your speaking. So have your pictures of your diplomas up and a slide. So what I would do is I'd have a picture of my designation up, or my diploma for designation. Then I would have a family picture. Then I have a funny quote or a little riddle. Then I would have another designation, family, funny, another designation, family, funny, another designation, family, funny. And this would be running about every 10 seconds. A new slide would flip, a new slide would flip, a new slide would flip. So you can just do it automatic where the slides are turning themselves. That's what people are looking at when they come into the presentation. That's fine. But when I started the presentation, guess how much time I spent talking about myself? 30 seconds. My name is Mike Kasnick. I have a financial planning firm in town. If you have any questions, you can go back. You can look me up in the phone book or whatever you'd want to do and ask me there. But today you're about how this information and how can it help you. Boom. Wow, that was a great bio about myself, wasn't it? Do they really give a crap about me? No. What they want to know is, will this information here help me? And if the information helps you, does it matter what it helps them? Does it matter what your designation is? Yeah, fix my problem. Exactly, Dave. Just fix my problem. If you can fix my problem, I don't care what your designations are, I'm going to meet with you. Make sense? Now, paradoxically, jargon doesn't come over as very sophisticated. We think by talking jargon that we sound sophisticated, we sound smart. Instead, it appears as if you're hiding things, or that you're hiding behind the fact that you have to use this jargon because you're really not as smart as you think you are. That's what people think. If you must use jargon, help the client understand the term first. So in 5Q with our 21-point checklist, we have to use some jargon. For example, we have to use correlation, don't we? But what term do I give? What term do I attach correlation? Does anybody understand the phrase that I attach when I talk about correlation or words like that? What do I always say? Correlation is a what? That's right, Nick. Fancy schmancy. That's right, Kevin. A fancy schmancy term for just not having all of our eggs in one basket. How many people get not having all your eggs in one basket? How many people get that? All of them. So I apologize. That's right, David. I apologize for the fancy schmancy term. I have to use that because that's what Morningstar calls the diversification. That's how it numerically measures diversification. So I have to use that term, but then I'm going to apologize for it and turn it into something very, very easy to understand. Does that make sense? So it humanizes it, right? Exactly. So here are some winning words that Frank Luntz came up with. And again, he is the world's best wordsmith. So good words for use for fees are choices, transparency, clarity, value. And look at what we do with our fees. We say in the new agreement meeting, we say, so here's why. That's why we're here today. So to be honest with you, about half the people that come to see us, they end up working with us in one long term, in one shape, form, or manner, and we may help them with their investments or their estate planning or whatever it may be. But they'll pay us in any number of ways, depending on what they choose to do with us and how much we do for them. So how much leeway am I giving to myself for how we're going to get paid in the future? Tons. Well, can you give me an estimate of how much it would cost? And I'd say, well, could cost $0. Could be you could pay me a fee up front of $500. It could be you pay me a little bit going on. I'm not sure. Until I know what I can do for you, how would I know? So can you tell me right now what I'm going to do for you? Well, no, we haven't even started. Yeah, so why can't I tell you how much it would cost? Oh, I guess I see what your point. You don't even know. Exactly. Now, do you notice here that I also say, after I've said that here's how I'm paid, it can be any number of ways, and how much would it be done, or what you choose to do with this, and how much you do for them. But about half the people, just like you're sitting here today, so am I wanting them to imagine they're going to pay me, or do I want them in their head thinking they're not going to pay me? And they're not. That's right. I'm saying, and that's why I do it the second half. People remember the last thing you say. That's why I don't reverse these two things. I end with, and then just about half the people, just like you're sitting here today, I help them at no cost because they just need simple adjustments to actually go home, do it themselves. I want them to believe that they're the people who are not going to pay me. And guys, at the first meeting, do I have any clue whether they're going to pay me or not? No. In fact, they shouldn't pay me. Even after the second meeting, they shouldn't pay me unless what? Unless they're not happy with their current guy. Do I have any knowledge on whether they're going to be happy with their current guy or not at the agreement meeting? No. So I'm going to say, hey, you're probably going to be one of those people who don't even pay me. Make sense? Oh, wait. So Till asked a question here about the agreement meeting. Let me go back up there. With the new agreement meeting, once in the fact finder within the document section with the prospect, not bring documents into the meeting, should we use the script tied to the importance of everything, or use the script provided in the new agreement meeting? You should use the script provided in the new agreement meeting, and then if you need to, Till, go back to tie the power of attorney to everything. But with the new goals that we have, or with the new goal scripts that we have, where we have them tell me it's a 5, it's a 5, it's a 5, it's a 5, guess how easy it is now to get them to agree to bring the statements in? Way easier. So the tie the importance of power of attorney to everything, that's about a 15-minute script. The new script, because of the goal questions we ask, and they say they have a 5, a 5, a 5, a 5, you're going to get that done basically in a minute or two instead of 15 minutes. So I would use the add-on script at the end of that agreement meeting script. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Till? Okay, with Frank Luntz, good, thanks, Till. Says replace sell or sold with, help to acquire, got them involved with. Oops, help them acquire, got them involved with. So when we do the Warren Buffett option, we say what? So why do so many people want to use the Warren Buffett option? Do I say, why was I able to sell so many people with the Warren Buffett option? Do I say that, or do I say, so why do so many people want to use the Warren Buffett option? So what we're doing, we've never sold anybody anything. We never sell anything to anybody. They acquire from us. They get involved with the things that we do. Replace contract with paperwork, agreement, or form. Okay? Don't ever use contract, paperwork, agreement, form. Replace buy with own. Replace deal with opportunities, arrangement, opportunities or arrangement. Do we have when we get this deal done? No. When we get you into this opportunity, when we're able to get you involved in this arrangement, that's what you say. You don't say when we're able to get this deal done. Don't deal is a good word, or as stinky or con word. Salesy, exactly. Replace appointment with, this is an important one, visit, get together, or meeting. Do not use appointments. Appointments sound what? Have you ever been excited about going to an appointment? Have you ever been excited about going to an appointment? No. A doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, an appointment to see my attorney. I don't want an appointment. Now, have I been excited about going on doing a get together, or getting together, or having a meeting, or a visit? Yeah, I'm excited about all those things. So replace appointment with visit, get together, meeting. Do not use that word. Make sense? Now, everybody understands this one. You replace sign with what? You guys all know this one. What do you say? Instead of saying sign here, you say what? What are the words you can use here? You should all know this. I know a lot of you guys use these words. Nobody's authorized. That's good, Till. Initial, good. Approve, okay. Yes. Autograph, that's good, Marty. So those are good things. Never say sign. People don't like to sign things, but they're okay with giving their John Hancock, autographing, okaying, initialing, authorizing, approving. So just it seems like, guys, are there hair trigger words in the English language that cause instant emotional? Yes, there are. So just try to avoid those words. You've done all this hard work. Don't let a little tiny roadblock like using the wrong word tip the apple cart. Make sense? Good. So when you've mastered the crib notes and the motive, and remember that motive, we have the crib note, we have a crib sheet for that now too, right? We have the outline for those motive, what you want people to say at the end of each one of those scripts. Doing your daily practice and your MIP and GOTS, your 5-minute money makers and breakdowns, that's when you close every client you bring on for all their money. If you're not closing everybody with all their money, it means you got to go back and do what? Find out what skill you need to get better at. Make sense? And remember, guys, we're now into the middle of September. We only have 1 month left. So, Missy, can you jump on here? When would they have to be turning some sort of marketing on and still have time to get something in before we run into the holiday season?
Yeah, so essentially you're going to be looking at the 3rd, 4th, or I guess October has kind of a beginning of a 5th week. So you really need to have something turned on by the end of this week. At the absolute latest, you're looking at the end of next week, and that would be if you're pushing all the way to the end of October. So
which
you
is
really have
viable,
about
not,
2 weeks.
Go ahead, Missy.
I was just saying, yep,
okay.
2 weeks.
So if you're going to turn something on, get in contact with Missy or whatever marketing you're going to be doing within the next 2 weeks. Guys, it's not that you can't get in front of people in the middle of November through the end of the year. You can. You can do seminars and get in front of them, no problemo. What's the real problem? Not having filling seminars in November, December. What's the real problem? Dave's got it. Yeah, everybody's getting it. That's Mike and yeah. The problem is getting through the 3-meeting process. It's going to take you 3 months to get through the 3-meeting process. We want to be through the 3-meeting process, best case scenario, in 2 weeks. But during the holidays, you're going to have all sorts of reasons why they can't get you their statements, why they can't make the second meeting, why they can't make the third. So that's why it's so important. If you want to do marketing, turn that on in the next couple of weeks, okay? Super duper. So you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.